I don't love my wife anymore. Let's hope it is one. This year makes 5 years since my wife and I got married. I think she's a good person. She's kind, loyal, and worries sick about me. She's a type of person that will have a panic attack if it's late at night and I'm out and not responding to text. Some people find that overbearing or controlling, but I have always found that endearing knowing she cares about me so much. Oh. But she also lies a lot and likes to argue. We fight sometimes, but nothing crazy. We always make up within 24 hours. That's good. It reminds me of this saying I heard growing up that for married couples, try as much as possible when you get married and you have a partner, not to go to bed with your troubles. As much as possible, talk about your things before going to bed. So, yep, big ups. I woke up today and I realized I don't love her anymore. I don't know how to describe it, but I've realized that I don't have any feeling of affection for her. I care about her the way I care about my close friends or family, not the way you should care about someone you fall in love with. I wish I could describe it better. Our sex life isn't good. I don't feel a very strong protective urge or over attachment towards her like a man should. I'm not stupid. I knew the law that I felt early on in bracket. Or is it more like infatuation? Mind you, these people have been married for 5 years. But this is definitely not how it's supposed to be either. I am sure of that in my heart. I think if I got divorced today, I wouldn't be heartbroken. I would feel lonely, but it's lonelier deeper. I would feel lonely, but that's because I've gotten used to living and sharing my life with someone. People say you don't wake up one day and fall out of love with your spouse, but that's genuinely what feels like has happened to me. All right, first of all, I have nothing to say. Let's just about jump into the comments and then comment to this comment. Educational page, he says, I read a thread where a guy felt the same as you. He went to therapy and did some research. It turns out his relationship dynamic went from him feeling like him and his wife were lovers to her feeling more like his mom. It makes freaking sense. Anywho, they worked it out and were able to communicate. I'm no doctor, but I would suggest therapy. The grass is greener where you water it. That's
What?
very, very good advice. As far as you stating in quotes, she lies a lot, I suggest a straightforward heart to heart and therapy. First of all, the grass is greener where you water it. Never undervalue the power of effective communication and sincere and honest communication in a relationship, not just marriage, in any relationship, even in friendship. Like the ability for you to be able to approach an individual and say the truth and say what you honestly feel, and then logically, sometimes not completely keeping emotions out, but logically having these conversations, two-way conversations where both of you are willing with a one goal in mind. We are trying to work this out. And the only way we work this out is by having a good and honest, logical conversation. In marriage, that's a skill which is very, very needed. It's very, very, it's without that skill, many marriages will fall apart. So in a situation like this, you're writing this out to the public. Have you had this conversation with her? Have you told her this? And as this guy, as educational page suggests, have you gone through therapy? Have you had these conversations? But the aspect of where she commented and said like, oh, it went more like feeling like lovers to much more of your mom. That makes freaking sense. A lot of sense. All right, let's do some, maybe two more. Pale. Pale says, maybe I'm weird, but I think this is normal. I was taught that love is not just a feeling, but mainly an action. To put it in better perspective for you, a few years back, I read an article on fur babies. Apparently, many people have expressed how they love their pets more than their family. Okay. But one psychologist questioned if it's because they feed, clean, play, and more with their pet. If this is what makes love grow more for them. Whereas with their loved ones, like parents or siblings, they will rarely call to say hello. Let's go ahead. But what if they started cooking a meal for their loved ones, making the effort to hang out more? Would it make that love grow? It was a very interesting read. Not that loving your pets is a bad thing, but just an observation on what love thrives on. Perhaps marriage isn't supposed to feel like you're in love all the time. Hell yeah. That's very, very true. If you talk to people who have been married for many, many years, they will tell you that there were some days they did not want to see their partners and all of the rest. But it's a commitment, it's not a feeling, it's not just a feeling. Just the feeling is not what is sufficient. It is necessary, but it's not the only thing needed to keep this boat Sure. Just like not every day. Perhaps marriage isn't supposed to feel like you're in love all the time. Just like not every day you feel like going to the gym. Maybe marriage is meant to stick it out during those lows when you're not feeling it. Perhaps that's an opportunity for one to demonstrate the love with a gesture. But that's just me. Now I can't tell you what to do, but I think a lot more people have been there and have been way too scared to admit it. Basically, one major lesson one can take out from this read is, in one way or the other, she's kind of affirming what the earlier guy said, that the grass is greener where you watered it. And according to the psychologists are looking at it from the read, the psychologist is looking at it. Oh, maybe you love your pet more because you are actively taking actions towards taking care of the pet. In the same way, the suggestion here or from that read is, by probably doing more actions towards making this relationship grow, being more and more proactive, it might help the situation. We don't know. It's just a suggestion. But I think these suggestions eventually make sense and they do a lot towards educating oneself towards the perspective of how just the feeling of love is not all that's necessary to be eventually to keep a relationship, not just a relationship, but to keep a marriage. How there's so much more. But I think at the underlining, at the back part of our mind, as a society, we need to go back to that level of understanding that a marriage is a full-time commitment where both parties are willing to do whatever it takes, sometimes even therapy, conversations, hard and difficult conversations. And it will also include times when you don't feel the love in your heart, but eventually you stick to these commitments that you have with this person. And many times you eventually walk past it, especially in a situation like yours where you're not able to describe any major thing which is wrong with the woman. She's loyal to you, she's kind, she's caring, apart from the lie a lot. So, yep, Bigos, man, drop your comments. This guy does not love his wife anymore, and he needs advice. All right, see you next time.